Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the pretty village of Sydling St Nicholas in Dorset. It's about 8 miles northwest of Dorchester and about 2.5 miles west of Cerne Abbas. And we're going to be doing a roughly 5.5 mile circular route to the south and east of the village, and we'll be seeing some of, well, Dorset's finest downland, an enchanting stream, some very pretty buildings and a few unusual things along the way. Now I'm filming in the summer. It was a bit cloudy this morning, but the sun has now peeped through and fingers crossed it's going to be a terrific day, so do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car in Church Lane and we'll start off with a walk with a little wander through the village. I mentioned the church. Well, it's just behind me here. It's the Church of St Nicholas. It was built on slightly higher ground than the rest of the village in the 15th century, replacing well, at least 2 earlier buildings on the site. The nave, chancel and porch were rebuilt in 1480 on 13th century foundations. The south aisle was built around about 1500. The tower is the oldest part of the present building, dating from 1430. I think it's got 5 bells. There is a tower clock, I believe, but with no face, and that dates from 1593, and I believe it's one of the oldest in England. And the chancel was rebuilt between 1745 and 1750. And I was reading that the church was used in the 1967 film Far from the Madding Crowd, in a scene that involved water pouring from one of the church's gargoyles onto the grave of Fanny Robin. I wonder if it's this one here, just on the southern side of the church. I'm not 100% sure. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have a look inside because the church is locked. I think there's some form of restoration work going on at the moment, but there are a couple of interesting things to look at either side of the church. Well, just to the north of the church is the courthouse. Just looking over the wall here. It's a private house, so I don't want to invade their privacy too much, but it was basically the village manor house. Indeed, it was venue for the local court, and the house, well, it was originally built here in the 16th century and then enlarged in the 18th century. It was basically the admin centre for the manor. Okay, let's have a little walk through the village, through the main street. The village was mentioned way back in the Domesday Book, although there were settlements here long before then. Indeed, over the last 1,000 years or so, parts of it have been owned by Milton Abbey and Winchester College, amongst others. I think Winchester College might still own a couple of properties and a few acres, not 100% sure. Sydling is a very old English name, but it basically refers to broad ridge because there are quite a few hills around here, as we're going to find out later on in the walk. Well, I'm just getting a little bit of shade under this magnificent chestnut tree. There's going to be some stonking conkers on that later on. Just over the road there, that's the village hall, which was built in 1939 thanks to a gift of land from Winchester College. And just through there, that's I think that's East Street, which is where we will be heading eventually. Just in front of me here, we've got a wayside cross, a medieval origins, octagonal base, and the lower part of an octagonal shaft. And just heading, we're sort of heading northwards, just to have a little bit of an exploration here. Full of delightful thatched cottages. In fact, just turning to my left, just on the other side of, you can just see the top of it, that's the vicarage, built in 1640 and restored in 1778. And then another terrific building in front of me here. This is East House, Looks like the chap doing some tree felling, so I won't get any nearer. But it's a Georgian architecture and built in 1780. It's got a massive chimney on it. And then just opposite is the old school that was, well, it opened in 1795 and closed in 1966. While continuing northwards, that's the old Methodist chapel. I think it was built in 1866. I'm guessing it must be residential now. It's so many pretty cottages along here. Lovely little pink cottage here on the right with wisteria. And wow, look at this. This is an old petrol pump. I was reading that the village once possessed the only petrol pump between Dorchester and Yeovil in the 1920s. So I guess this must be it. Well, this is as far north as we're going to head into the village. This is the Greyhound Inn, which will probably be our final destination. A wonderful 18th century old coaching inn. And look at the two greyhounds sitting proudly at the entrance there. In fact, just turning around, see that hill in the far distance. I have a feeling that's where we're going to be heading when we get out into the countryside. I was reading that Fiona Phillips, remember the GMTV presenter, well, Fiona and her husband Martin Frizzell actually took over the pub in 2011 and ran it for a short period of time. Anyway, it is definitely dog friendly, so we'll definitely be going there at the end. Well, we're now heading eastwards along East Street and just about to cross over this delightful little stream. It's called the Sydling Water. It's only about 5 miles long. It runs north to south from up Sydling, less than a mile away, to the River Frome. And I was reading that, well, in days gone by, the stream actually used to flow along the high street in open course originally. But it's quite free flowing and lovely and clear. I mean, we have had a bit of rain recently, but we've also had one of the driest summers on record. So you know, I was surprised to see it this full, actually. Well, just a little update for any viewers that might be doing this walk after watching the video. This is at the end of, well, along East Street, and you need to look out for this quite exquisite house called Hit or Miss. Isn't it lovely? Because just opposite there's a sort of village green come recreation ground with, God, look at those rowan trees, the berries glinting in the sun. Anyway, we need to just follow this road round and join a footpath that's going to take us out into the countryside. Oh yes, that's the sign I was looking for. So we come from Sydling St Nicholas. We now need to start heading east towards Hog Hill. And initially we're going to follow, looks like a track rather than a footpath. We're making good progress in our ascent towards the top of the ridge, but already getting some smashing views. You can probably just see behind me over my shoulder the Church of St Nicholas. We're actually on the Wessex Ridgeway now, which is a 136-mile long distance path from Marlborough in Wiltshire that goes all the way to Lyme Regis in Dorset. I think it was opened sometime in the 1990s. Right, let's kick on. Now this is the best part of the walk, a stop for blackberries, and these are our first ones of the season. They all right? A couple of them are right. That's right. Move into the black ones, they're tastier. Good boy. Well, we're nearly at the top of the ridge. I think it's a place called Cowdon Hill, but the view looking back across the valley to the west, isn't that fantastic? There's the village below, and so this is the track that we've sort of followed up the ridge, and then just looking ahead at very far distance I can make out well, I'm guessing that's what it is, must be the Hardy Monument, if I've got my directions right. Well, the sun's gone in behind some clouds, I'm afraid. Hopefully it'll be a temporary thing. Now we've got to a place called I think Higher City Farm, and now we start heading southwards. I'm delighted to say the sun has come out again. Now old Logan's feeling very pleased with himself at the moment. He's had a busy couple of weeks or so in the show ring. A couple of weeks ago I was at the Paynton Championship Dog Show, and I won the adult handling class with Logan, which means we qualified for a semi-final and a final in Bath next May. And then a few days ago we were at the Bournemouth Championship Dog Show, and Logan came third in the Whippet dog graduate class, which means he's qualified for Crufts again. I think it's it'll be the 6th time he's been to Crufts, 5 times in the show ring and once in obedience. So yeah, he's done very well, although yesterday he had to go to the vets for his annual jab, but he was a good boy. Well, I tell you, the scenery on this walk really has been quite stunning today. Really is your typical Dorset rolling landscape. I was going to say green and pleasant land, but because of the drought conditions that we've had over the last couple of months or so, a lot of the grass is very brown, but it's still quite glorious nonetheless. Well, we've really been enjoying this fantastic walk along a ridge, probably about 1.5 miles, nearly 2 miles, and we're now going to change direction shortly and head westwards again. But just by me here is a very poignant memorial. So we're up on Crete Hill, and the memorial is in memory of Harriet Torrey, who died in November 2005 in a cycling accident in London, I believe. I don't know too much about her other than that she was co-founder of a research company called Arrête Research. Well, just a few yards away from the memorial is this little, what looks like a sundial. I think it's a frog. high up on the ridge here. So what a superb place to have your memorial. Just panning round, quite glorious. I know I keep saying sometimes scenes don't always come so well over on a GoPro, but you have to take it from me, it really is quite beautiful today. Haha, now this is the signpost I was looking for, appropriately called the turning point. We don't want to carry on to Dorchester, we're going to start heading downhill towards Crete Bottom. Well, there are some rather dark clouds beginning to appear. Oh, we've still got another mile or so to go, so fingers crossed we're going to stay dry. But just to show you where we've been, that's the ridge at the very top with the memorial, and we've made our way down the side of into a valley, and just in front of me here is this rather unusual object, and I've been wondering what it is the nearer I've come to it. But there is actually a little plaque down. It's a bit difficult to read, but it's called Four Seas Tower, and it's basically a sculpture. So I'll put a photo of the plaque up on screen, and if you want to read it you can freeze the screen. This walk's going to be slightly longer than I'd originally planned. I was so infatuated with that tower to see what it was, I didn't realise that it was actually slightly off route. Anyway, we're heading in the right direction now. If you do this walk and you come across that tower, it means you've gone the wrong way. I'm getting old. Great to see the sun has come out. I think we're going to be dry for the rest of the walk. Now I've just reached the top of Sheer Place Hill, and just behind me, or just over my shoulder, is the Sheer Place enclosure. And if you look on an old map, it shows as an old settlement. There's not too much to see today. It only covers about 1.2 acres, and it's on the north facing slope of Sheer Place Hill. And there was a settlement here in the Middle to Late Bronze Age, and then it was abandoned. And there are a series of banks and sunken trackways. I did see one, what it looked like a bank anyway, and apparently the main enclosure used to contain a couple of houses. Well, very much on the homeward stretch now, just past a lovely farmhouse building behind me here, Huish Farm I think it's called. And then just behind me down here, I think I'm recrossing that river again. And I think from memory, when I looked at an old map, there was once a watermill just to the north. So we've now just got to cross the road again, and that'll take us back to the church. Just back on that road that will take us back into the village, and we're just going to bear left to the church. I think I mentioned that we'd cross the river at the farm. I think actually this is the main part of Sydling Water here, and the bit by the farm might have had something to do with the mill. I'm not 100% sure, but unfortunately it's just a little bit too steep for Logan to get in, otherwise he'd have a nice little cooling down paddle. Come on fella, we need to get back to the pub. Well folks, we've made it back to the Greyhound Inn at Sydling St Nicholas. We hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, please do give us a like, give us a thumbs up and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. I'm just off inside to order my pint and packet of crisps. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio. I think it's your round, isn't it?